Tragic Misadventure, the heartbreaking tale of John Edward Jones' last 28 hours in Nutty Putty Cave. John Edward Jones tragically passed away on November 24, 2009, after a 28-hour struggle in Nutty Putty Cave. While entering the cave with his brother, he accidentally entered a narrow tunnel and got stuck upside down in a small area 120 meters away from the entrance. Despite the efforts of a large rescue team using a rope and pulley system, problems arose and Jones suffered a heart attack due to his position. His body could not be recovered. Instead, the cave was sealed and turned into a monument. The area where Jones was secured by demolishing the nearby ceiling and blocking the entrance with concrete. Here's a clip of the documentary for those who want to see exactly what happened.
John's body had settled into the narrow side of the opening, so Ryan had to push his legs over as the team pulled from outside. Each heave moved him inch by inch up out of the hole. By this time, John's legs were in excruciating pain. A rope had been tied around his legs for hours as rescuers tried various methods to help him out. They were completely blue and had no discernible pulse, yet each tug had him call out to stop as his nerves were ultra-sensitive at this point. They paused to give him a moment to gather himself, and then tried again. It seemed to be working. John was finally being pulled up out of this hole. He was raised enough for Ryan to look down to make actual eye contact with him and pass down a tube to drink Gatorade. This effort was extremely slow going, and they were all exhausted from the difficult effort. Ryan was squeezed in a tunnel just 12 inches high and had his head near John's legs as they worked him slowly out of the tight 10-inch fissure. Although they were making some progress in lifting him up, they were no closer to getting him out. His legs were hitting the low ceiling above his tunnel, and twisting them into the passage was impossible. He had no control over his legs now, after 19 hours upside down. Without his help to delicately bend his knees to the side, they were strongly considering breaking his legs to get him back into the passage, because time was running out for John. Then, in a sudden moment of blinding pain, Ryan blacked out. When he came to, he was bleeding heavily and confused. The rope, holding the pulley to a natural arch section in the cave, broke and whipped the carabiner and pulley directly into Ryan's face. He suffered damage to his face, lip, and tongue, as well as a concussion. He had to get out of there quickly. John was back where he started, completely wedged in the tunnel with the circulation to his arms cut off and his legs completely dead. He was unable to help free himself in any way. This moment started the final demise of John Jones. After Ryan was checked out in the pit and then sent off to the hospital, his father Dave took his place in the passage with John. It took an hour to re-establish the pulley lines, and Dave tried to tie a rope around John's body, but couldn't get the rope past his wedged torso. All the time Dave was with John, he was not responsive. This entire operation required John's help to effectively rescue him. There was no way to lift his 200-pound, 6-foot frame without him pushing and trying to leverage himself in some way. In Dave's effort to tie up John, he got himself stuck for about 15 minutes. Their desperate effort to help save this man had put both his son and himself in danger. It was a devastating reality. Once he had pushed himself back into the 12-inch tunnel, he was exhausted and had to leave. Brandon Kowalas took his place and brought in the telecom system so John's family could talk to him. His wife Emily expressed her love and told him to take a break and rest after all of his effort. She still truly believed he would be coming out, but Brandon could see what she could not. John was no longer responsive, and no signs of life could be heard. Over the previous several hours, Ryan reported the gurgling breaths that John was struggling with. Now, there was silence. The rescue team gathered in the pit area inside the cave and discussed the situation. It was determined that a medical professional would need to confirm that he had actually passed. A paramedic was sent into the tight section to confirm what was suspected. At 11:56 on Wednesday, November 25th, John Jones was pronounced dead. The rescue teams worked for 24 hours straight to try to free John, but it was just not possible with his upside-down position. The clock was ticking, and he just ran out of time. John survived an extraordinary 27 hours in an inverted position, which is 3 times longer than what was predicted as possible. The 6 rescue personnel who actually reached John in that rocky prison were truly heroic. They willfully placed themselves in a portion of the cave that was unmapped with many known risks. They were selfless in their efforts, maintained a calm demeanor, and never gave up on a seemingly impossible rescue. After they determined that recovering the body would be impossible, John was left to rest in the Ed's Push section of the Nutty Putty Cave for eternity. The entire cave system was closed off with concrete, never to be explored again. A plaque was placed there to commemorate the life of John Jones.